the recording, the video recording of Prof. Karim talk earlier, you can find the link in the ClassIn app. Okay, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We will now have our second talk by Mr. Adam Brimo. The title of his talk is Creating MOOC and Micro-Credential Courses Powered by AI. Please allow me to read through a brief biodata of Mr. Adam Brimo. Adam holds Bachelor of Engineering Software and a Bachelor of Arts in Politics degrees from University of New South Wales, UNSW, and is the 2011 Choice Magazine Consumer Activist of the Year, and is a recipient of the 2011 UNSW Alumni Graduate Award. Adam completed his honours thesis at UNSW in partnership with National ICT Australia and ICTA. Adam previously worked at Macquarie Bank as a software engineer in the Fixed Income Currencies and Commodities Group, and at Westpac Institutional Bank as a senior software engineer. In 2012, Adam joined world-renowned UNSW Prof. Richard Buckland and David Gaudian to found OpenLearning.com, a social learning platform. Over 1 million students have joined the courses, including the first massive open online courses, MOOCs, from Australia and Malaysia, where it is the national MOOC platform for the public university and polytechnics. Open Learning now employs 65 people and is headquartered in Sydney with its Southeast Asia head office in Kuala Lumpur. In recognition of the impact Open Learning has had on education sector in Asia, Adam was named one of the Forbes 30 under 30 Asia in the consumer technology category in early 2017. Without any further delay, we would like to invite Adam to deliver his talk. Over to you, Adam. Okay.
Can we move this over? Sorry, maybe move over a bit so more centered. You want to move it a bit over so it's more centered. There we go.
All right.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for inviting me today. Very nice to see all of you. And thank you, Prof. Karim, for your talk this morning as well. It's a very difficult act to follow, so I will do my best. So good afternoon and good morning, everyone. And today I want to share with you a bit more about how you can create MOOCs and micro-credentials powered by AI using the Open Learning platform. Now, just for some brief background, Open Learning is a scalable lifelong learning platform for education providers that leverages generative AI. And we started in Sydney, Australia in 2012, just over 10 years ago. And today, over 3.5 million students around the world have taken courses through Open Learning. And we actively work with over 200 universities, colleges, organizations, and government agencies. Tens of thousands of courses are being delivered through Open Learning on a regular basis to students all around the world in over 165 countries. Now, over the years, Open Learning has grown and expanded from being initially a MOOC platform for massive open online courses, now into a platform for supporting not just MOOCs, but also micro-credentials and online distance learning and full degree programs as well. Now, over the past year, we've actually further expanded Open Learning into generative AI. And what I'll share with you today are some of the advances we've made in turning Open Learning into an AI-powered learning platform that makes it easier for you to design and deliver courses. Now, we work with many world-class organizations around the world, including UNI10. So we're very honored to work with UNI10 and many other universities across Malaysia, including MMU here today as well, UTP. So we're very excited to share some of these latest developments with you, and you can actually use these in the platform as well. So what I'm showing you today, you'll actually be able to go and try out, except for one new feature, which will be available on Thursday. So I'm giving you a preview of that today. Now, what open learning does is it goes beyond the traditional learning management system into being a fully integrated end-to-end solution for delivering short courses, micro-credentials, and degree programs. This includes a fully integrated marketplace with e-commerce functionality, so you can build and sell your courses, a learning platform designed for social learning and social constructivism, so you can design courses that are active and project-based and have a lot more collaboration. We have a built-in portfolio system, so all the students going through your courses will automatically have a portfolio of learning with all of the skills and work they've done. Now, this portfolio can then be shared with potential employers or the public or even to other universities for recognition of prior learning. On top of that, we have a built-in digital credentialing system, so you can issue badges and certificates automatically on completion of the courses. Now, in terms of MOOCs and micro-credentials, there is a strong shift from degrees to micro-credentials going on in society at the moment. Obviously, the vast majority of people are studying degree programs, and we see that continuing. There's always a place for studying an extended 3, 4, or 5-year degree. And I myself have been the beneficiary of that. And I hope that many other people around the world are able to take 3-year, 4-year, 5-year degree programs. But the reality is many students today, when they leave high school, might not be sure exactly what they want to study. And many people who are working professionals may already have a degree in one area, but need to reskill and upskill in another area. So micro-credentials fill this gap. Whereas MOOCs have been a very interesting and fun development for people to do lifelong learning, many people are looking for a credential. They want a certificate, and they want something that leads towards credit. And that's what micro-credentials can do. But there's a lot of differences between micro-credentials and MOOCs and on-campus degree programs. And these differences mean that the way in which we design and deliver our courses are going to change. For an on-campus degree program, the student is there for 2 to 4 years, maybe longer. The commitment is very high. In many cases, it's the second largest decision people make in their life. Well, second or third, depending. They might get married, they might buy a house, and they decide where to study in terms of financial commitment. And they only make this decision probably once. So it's a big thing, and people plan from their childhood, influenced by their parents and society, about where they want to study for their undergraduate degree. Contrast that to MOOCs and micro-credentials. It's just like buying something off the shelf in the store in some cases. You walk around, you look at what's available, and you pick a course, and you purchase it or you enroll for free and pay for certification. So these are very different decision-making processes people go through. On top of that, the price people pay for these programs is typically very different. For degree programs, you're looking at tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars if you're studying overseas. But for MOOCs and micro-credentials, they range from free to maybe 1,000 ringgit. Sometimes more, sometimes less. People make their decision in days. And the other key element is that for MOOCs and micro-credentials, every customer must be a repeat customer in order for you to generate enough revenue as a university from the micro-credential. If someone comes and studies just one degree program, that's enough, right? You don't really expect them to come back. If they come back for a master's degree, that's fantastic. But if they don't, then you understand that as well. They spent 2 to 4 years at your university. But if it's a MOOC or a micro-credential and they only come for one course, then they probably haven't gained enough credit to go on to further study. They probably may not have fully developed the skills that they need. So both for the student and for the university, you need someone to come back multiple times. Now what that means is the course itself has to be really good. You have to engage the learner, you have to excite them, they have to be inspired, they have to learn something, and they have to want to come back for more. So the engagement and the quality of learning is actually very different because you're competing for the person's attention against many other things. So this, I think, sets the scene for the types of courses that we want to build when we're building MOOCs and micro-credentials. The next element is how you actually develop those courses and get them to market. Now, when you're looking at MOOCs and micro-credentials, and we're looking at it as more of a consumer product, for example, then if you want to deliver those, and you want to use your existing tools or build the system yourself, it actually requires a lot of effort and a lot of work. So if you want to build and manage the micro-credential platform or MOOC platform yourself, then you're probably going to go through, I came up with 20 steps here, but maybe more, from finding the right platforms, the right tools, the right IT systems, integrating all of it together, building websites, managing all of that, hiring customer service staff, training all your team members. It can take 1 to 2 years of setting things up before you even start building your first course, if you're trying to do it yourself. Whereas with a platform like Open Learning, everything's already there for you. From day one, you start building your course, and everything else is done for you. You can just go through the onboarding workshop, enter the price you want to charge, and then your course is available for sale around the world. So this is really the big difference, and that's why at Open Learning, over the past 4 years, we've invested heavily in making it possible to get your courses to market as quickly as possible. So you can put all your effort into designing courses rather than dealing with IT systems, integration, project management, and all the technology risk associated with it. On top of that, it means you get access to the latest technology. So just earlier this year, when ChatGPT started becoming popular, we saw the opportunity. And now within just 4 months, we've integrated a whole range of features into Open Learning that will make it possible to build courses much more efficiently. If you're running the platform yourself and trying to build a platform yourself, that's not something you'd be able to access as quickly because we have the hundreds of customers and millions of learners around the world and tons of staff working on building a platform on a regular basis. So what that means is we've not just built a learning platform, we've also provided the technology to support marketing for your online courses. And we've aligned all of our functionality to the sales and marketing funnel. Because when you're selling and building micro-credentials and MOOCs, you're not just building a course, you're actually offering a product to the market. And you've got to interest people in that, you have to nurture them, and you have to turn them into repeat customers. So at Open Learning, we have the functionality for building awareness, purchasing, activation, engaging your learners, delivering the course, cross-selling and upselling, so you can promote degree programs, master's programs, or further micro-credentials, and handle referrals as well. So many of these steps in this process you will do as a university, and the other ones we will do as a technology provider. So we work together in partnership to make sure that your courses are successful. Now, on top of that, we've also taken the initiative to come up with ways to develop the processes to make it easier for you to offer a large number of micro-credentials. That includes things like our Open Creds framework. So Open Creds was a framework that we developed about 3 years ago across Australia and Malaysia, which is designed to make it easier to deliver micro-credentials that can stack up into degree programs and lead towards further credit. It brings together employers, policymakers, providers, and lifelong learners. And these courses can range from just 1 hour to 150 hours through different levels. They can be for vocational, professional learning, higher education. They can be pathways or credit-bearing courses or industry recognized. But this standard structure will eventually mean that there can be cross-recognition of courses inside Malaysia, but also beyond. So through universities and colleges in Australia, Malaysia, soon Indonesia and India, we'll be able to do mutual recognition of courses. And that's the goal that we're trying to achieve with micro-credentials. This all aligns to the MQA's Micro-Credential Good Practices Guideline and the Australian Qualifications Framework. So the aim is that while we try and align the framework, Open Creds to multiple countries, that makes it easier for you to offer courses that could eventually be recognized in multiple countries as well. Now, it does take time. We are still working through some of the processes, but I think the goal for everyone is to try and ensure micro-credentials can be widely recognized around the world. So a student can study a micro-credential in Malaysia and get credit in Australia, and vice versa. So we have a whole range of features available within the platform, and some of them I'll show you today, for handling everything from course authoring, assessment, certification, and more. But what I really want to share with you this morning is Open Learning's new AI assistant, which is a game changer for learning design and delivery. And this AI assistant is very exciting because for many years at Open Learning, we've worked very hard to try and develop best practices for learning design and support educators through training, certification, and other programs to build great courses. But now AI can do even more work for you. So we're quite excited. Now, I also want to share with you our approach to embedding AI into Open Learning. So our focus is on empowering educators by providing suggestions across all aspects of course design, delivery, and assessment. Humans are always the decision makers, deciding on what actions to take and approving AI suggestions. So the AI is not building the course, you're building the course, but you're using AI to do it. And I think that's a very important distinction because it's your course. You can't, if something's incorrect, you can't blame the AI for it. You have to check it over yourself, as Prof. Karim was saying. So you have to, in this process, we also want to implement best practices in learning design to maximize learning outcomes. So we've actually, with our learning designers, tried to instill best practices in pedagogy and learning design right into the tools themselves. And we're using the latest enterprise-grade technology, including GPT-4 through Microsoft Azure's OpenAI service. So as for the question earlier, the data you put into these tools does not get fed back into the training set for GPT-4. So we use Microsoft Azure's enterprise-grade technology. And this is actually not available to all companies that are offering AI tools. There's actually a waiting list, I believe, of about 30 or 40,000 companies on the list. And at Open Learning, we're very lucky that we got early access to these tools, thanks to our long-standing relationship with Microsoft and the strong support that we've had from Microsoft's team in Malaysia and around the world. So we're very grateful. I think we're probably also the first learning platform to roll these out to everyone as well. And on top of that, these tools are only available to educators. So learners can't access these tools at the moment. So if this works well, we believe that generative AI can actually increase the quality of education and result in better outcomes for learners. Now, the way this looks is that at Open Learning, we want to enable you to design courses for learners to demonstrate how they learned, not just what they know. So if you just give students a final exam or a final project, they're probably going to use AI to do that. And you probably won't know if they did or not. But if you're able to see the 10, 20, 50, or 100 things that someone did along the way to get to that final output, then you can make a better assessment of whether they did it on their own and the process they went through to learn. And that's the focus at Open Learning. How do we help you develop those dozens or hundreds of small micro-learning activities within your course that let you see how someone's learning experience progressed through the duration of the course? Now, that means we're focusing on the top of this funnel, the socially constructive and individually constructive activities. Oh, where does it go? Oh, there we go. Half of it was missing. Well, the top half is the most important anyway. But the bottom is stuff that we still do and everyone does, but we consider it somewhat passive or sleepy. Videos, quizzes, everything corrective. Now, on top of that, actually the bottom levels are things that are trivial for students to do with AI. They can easily cheat on these tools. Actually, they could cheat on quizzes before we had AI. They just used Google. So it's very easy. But the ones at the top are more difficult for students to game. We call them AI robust because they're drawing upon students' personal experiences and the students' own learning history. So if they're using AI to do it, you can probably catch them out more easily. Whereas the bottom ones, if someone gets all the answers correct on a quiz, you have no idea how they got those answers. They could have guessed. Now, on top of that, we believe that there's emerging categories of generative AI features across the technology ecosystem. So, for example, many of the tools that Prof. Karim was sharing are consumer generative AI tools. They're fantastic tools because we can all access them and we can use them and work with them on a regular basis. But to get great use out of them, we need to learn about prompt engineering, all the tools, all the techniques that Prof shared. And these are general purpose tools. The data ownership and privacy and security vary, so you have to check each tool to see what it's doing. And the limitations on usage. For example, the prompts might be, and output might be limited to 500 words in some of the tools. It depends, you don't know. So some examples of this are like ChatGPT itself, Bing, Bard, Synthesia for videos, Jasper, Midjourney, many other great consumer tools. And these are usually built on similar models, usually using OpenAI or Google's Palm 2 models. Now the second category is what we consider embedded generative AI in applications. These are domain-specific, this involves domain-specific fine-tuning of the AI models so that it can reason with platform features. So when Prof shared Notion AI, or even Miro, or some of those other tools, where you're using AI right within an existing application. You don't have to go to, a ChatGPT or a Google Bard and then copy and paste everything. In Miro, it knew not just what text to generate, but how to create the mind map. Similarly, in Notion and in the PowerPoint tools, it generates the whole presentation. So these are the AI tools that we consider to be really powerful. Some of them are more specific than others, but these are things like Microsoft Copilot, Canva's Magic Tools, Notion's AI, and Open Learning's AI Assistant. And interestingly, these are all built on the exact same models. Most of them are also using GPT-4 or Palm 2, but just doing it in a different way behind the scenes so that you don't directly interact with them. So I'll give you a brief overview before I demo these features live. One of the Open Learning AI Assistant's first tools will suggest high-quality learning activities, content, and assessment. So you click on the assistant, you get a list of learning design patterns and templates. You click on one of them, and you select a few options. You choose your learning outcomes, your tone, you enter a topic, and it will generate a full page of content and activities for the student to do right within your course, which you can further refine. And we have over 17 AI-powered learning design templates now available within the platform. These include everything from project-based learning, reciprocal teaching, icebreakers, sharing activities, tutorial exercises, practicing a technique, role-playing, and much more. And we're adding many more to this library as we go, and I'll share some of these with you as well. On top of that, our AI assistant will also generate a wide range of advanced content types. And you click on one of the content types, such as a case study or a worked example. You select your tone, you enter your topic, and then it will generate a full page of content exactly for the topic you entered, right within the platform, in the right style for your course. And in this case, we have over 14 AI-powered content templates now available within the platform. Case studies, explanations, glossaries, how-to guides, analogies, storytelling, information, and more. And I'll demo these shortly as well. And then today I'll share with you one more feature, which is just launching on this Thursday, actually, at our upcoming webinar, which is an AI thumbnail generator, which will generate images for your pages in the course. Now, these images will be like a thumbnail, depicting what the course is about to your students, or what the page is about to your students. And with this one, you can choose your style, the artwork, inspiration, and more, and the color scheme. It will generate all the images for your pages and put them right into your course. And this is quite remarkable because it will actually also read the content of the page to work out what image is relevant. These aren't just random images. So as you can see, we've launched a few features already, and we're developing a complete suite of embedded generative AI tools within Open Learning. In fact, within the next few months or so, we will actually end up releasing a full course creator within Open Learning, powered by AI. At the moment, we're developing the building blocks. Activity creation, following best practices in learning design, is already available. Content generation for many different content types is also available. And this week, the automatic page thumbnail image generator will be available too. But the big one will be the course structure, module structure, and learning outcomes, which will be part of Open Learning's new AI-powered course building tool, which will let you go through and select the different taxonomies you want to use for your learning outcomes, different way in which you want to generate the module structure and course structure, and then generate each of the pages and each of the activities under that. So a step-by-step process with everything powered by AI that you have input into along the way. This will cut down the time it takes to build micro-credentials from months to days once you're using these tools. So now I'll just start by sharing a demo with you and go through a few more things on the platform. Okay, great. I think we can see that. So I'll just start just giving you a bit of an overview on Open Learning. So when you first go to Open Learning, what you see is our website and our marketplace, where you'll see a range of courses from around the world. This is only about 1% of the courses that are running on Open Learning, because we have many courses that are actually delivered privately or internally that don't show up in the marketplace. But you can see here there's a range of institutions that are building courses through the platform, and you can browse through those and see what they're doing, what they're like. So, Western Sydney University, for example, runs a whole range of courses on Open Learning from a number of topics. And if you view their institution, you'll see that they actually have their own site on Open Learning called Western X, which is where they run all of their alternative credentials, so all their micro-credentials and pathways for their degrees. And they've got some of their latest programs here, just launched, Foundation of Advanced Integrative Medicine Practice, micro-credentials by category, lots of different opportunities, and many more. Now, on top of that, they also have a number of micro-credentials, including one I'll just share briefly with you, where they've actually unbundled one of the units in their MBA program into 4 micro-credentials. So these 4 micro-credentials, the first one is actually, they charge for it but different prices. So these 4 add up to 1 unit in the MBA program. So if you do these 4 courses, you can study towards the MBA. And it's actually more cost-effective to start off with the micro-credential and then move into the MBA. And this one's on sustainable business management. So you can see they've got the first course, Setting the Path to Net Zero, Auditing Your Environmental Management System, Lifecycle Management, Green Supply Chain Management. And if we jump into one of these courses, we'll see that the way they've developed it is that they've got a cool color scheme. The color scheme here is purple with a little generated earth. I think some of these might be AI-generated images as well. There's a welcome from the lecturer. There's a progress bar that shows you where you're up to. There's navigation on the left-hand side. So we click on these, we can see each of these is a module. And each module has a collection of pages, content, and activities. And then if we scroll down, there's a bit more welcome to the course and a bit more information here. You notice that there's also a Get Certified button. So in this case, you can actually pay an extra fee to get certified in the course. So with Open Learning, you can offer courses that are free to enroll and pay to certify, or pay to enroll and you get free certification, or you can charge for both if you really want to. Charge different fees for different things. So you can see that's how they've structured their course. I'll just jump into another course now to show you a few activities in. So this is a computer science course in programming and computational thinking, developed in partnership with Microsoft, Alibaba, Cloud, Canva, and a few other companies. So when you first come into this course, there's a welcome from the subject matter experts who were involved. There's an introductory activity called Curious But Skeptical, where you introduce yourself sharing 2 reasons why you're taking the course, and then you do that just in the commenting and discussion area. So you can see inside here, this is a very social environment. People are getting to know each other, asking each other questions. You can see who likes the comments as well. So for students, it feels very natural. It's a very interactive process. Now, if we jump into the learning activities, you'll see this course has 10 modules. It's structured a little differently to the previous one. So I'm going to go into one of these activities here. This one is called Instructions Are Hard, and it's about how difficult it is to write and follow instructions, even as a computer or as a person. So you start off by sharing your favorite recipe. So in this case, I was writing a recipe for a Japanese food. My instructions are not very good. I think I cooked the rice, I cooked the chicken, and I'm not sure what to do next. But just click, you can see you can do the activity right on the page. You just click next, and then you can actually add a reflection. You can tag it, and also you'll see here it's visible to viewers of your class and your portfolio. So this will go into my portfolio, so I should probably do a better job than I have. But after you do that, there's a bit more content. And then there's a gallery of recipes from all the students in the class. So in here you can see every student is writing a recipe. This person's made curry butter chicken, so it sounds tasty. They've got the recipe here, and there's a bit of commenting and discussion. So that way you can actually use the community dynamics to encourage students to do more work and put more work into their activities, and they become more proud of the work they're doing. And then there's a bit more information here, and then there's some commenting. So you can see this is actually a pattern where we have lots of different things. We've got some introductory content, we've got some activity, we've got some peer collaboration, some stimulus, and much more, all on the same page. Now you can do this with all sorts of activities. I'll just show you one more. And you'll notice that this one, giving instructions to a microprocessor, we have 2 things at the top here. These are actually learning outcome tags. So inside Open Learning, you can actually map your content activities directly to the learning outcomes, right within the course. And that makes it possible for you to handle the constructive alignment within the course as well, and to actually see which activities are mapped to which outcomes. And you can even view all the learning outcomes from here too. So this actually gives students visibility into the learning outcomes that are being covered as well. So as we scroll down, we'll see there's a video here. There's some information about how the microprocessor works. And then there's an introduction to the 4-bit microprocessor simulator within the course itself. So it tells students how it works and all of that. And then you can actually use it. So this simulator is embedded right into Open Learning. So Open Learning as a platform lets you embed all sorts of external content and tools. So if you build additional widgets, or if you have content in Articulate, H5P, SCORM, CMI5, XAPI, all of that can be embedded right within the platform. So you can actually put your resources and development work into building these kinds of widgets rather than integrating systems. So here, this is just a simulator. I think 7 prints something out in the register 0. So I just upload that and I run it. You can see it prints. Now this activity, you're actually supposed to print out 4004, which I think I did earlier. So I'll just copy my solution in here. upload that to this thing. I run it, prints 4004. So that's great. I did it. And then you can actually, there's a gallery, and it actually shows you everything everyone else has done. And you can see some people actually did it slightly differently to the way I did it. This person didn't do it correctly at all. This person did it maybe a little slightly differently. So you can see how people did it in their reflections. And then there's another activity. What else can you do with the microprocessor? Where you share what else you think you can do. Even though it's a very simple microprocessor, we want students to think about what other things are possible. And people share it here. A calculator, lucky number display, all sorts of things people come up with. Cool, so that's just a brief example here. Now, if you're actually creating this page on Open Learning, and I'm an administrator, so I have an edit button, I just click edit, and you can see each of these is actually just a widget. This is a video widget, I can just upload the video. This is a text widget, I can just edit it like I would Microsoft Word and put the content in. So it's very easy to do. Even this simulator is also just a HTML5 widget. So you can actually just embed HTML5 content right within the platform using these tools. And you can see here we've got a whole range of widgets available you can play with. Quizzes, sharing, content, integrations, advanced widgets, code, random selections, much more. So that's a bit about the platform generally. Now let's go to a brand new course and start building it ourselves. So I've got a course here called Economics 101 at Uni10. I don't know if there probably is an Economics 1 course, but I don't have the curriculum, so we're going to start off with a blank course here. Now, you'll notice this course has not much in it. It's pretty empty, not much going on. It's just I've created a few empty pages here, but there's nothing in them, so there's a welcome to the course page. So maybe for this one, if we were starting off building our course from scratch, typically we would edit the page, and then we'd have a text widget here. Now you can copy and paste whatever content you already have. That's very easy. But now we also have a new button called Suggest Content, which will bring up the AI assistant. And you can see here, these are all of those content types that I was talking about before. Analogies, case studies, welcome. Maybe I will add a welcome message to this content. You can see here there's also information about the course. We can check over our topic, who the audience is, so you could even make it more specific. We could say, learners in, Malaysia. And you can choose a default tone as well. Then we can say, okay, what do we want to describe here? So I'm going to, let's say we want welcome to the course taught by, who's a famous economist? I think I know Paul Krugman. We can pretend he's teaching this course, hopefully he won't mind. And then we can choose our tone here. So we've got quite a few tones: academic, authoritative, encouraging, dramatic. Maybe we want to encourage the students. Maybe we want some humor as well. Let's make this a bit interesting. So once we do that, we'll click Generate Content. And this will take about 30 seconds. You'll notice it's actually a little bit slower than some of the other AI tools. And the reason for that is because we're using GPT-4 for everything. GPT-4 is slower, yeah. But the results are good. So we make the sacrifice. So while you're waiting, you can get a cup of tea sometimes, but it'll only take about 30 seconds. We found that with GPT-4, it's much more accurate for things like mathematics and sciences as well. Even to the point where I've generated like physics questions and work solutions, and it's largely accurate. So it's pretty cool. There we go. So not too slow. There we go. Welcome to Economics 101 with Paul Krugman. Greetings, aspiring economists of Malaysia. We're thrilled to have you join this exciting journey through the fascinating world of economics. So it's a humorous approach. Let's face it, economics can sometimes be a bit dry, but fear not, we're here to make it as entertaining and engaging as possible. So it's really picked up the tone. It's covered everything, cryptocurrencies, whatever. Why study economics? What to expect from the course? Let's get started. Yeah. So if you like it, you can keep it. Otherwise, you can refine it as well. You can ask for changes. So you can make changes if you want. But we're going to keep this one. So I think that's a good welcome to the course to get started. Now maybe what I want is yeah, it can, yeah. So this is actually just a text widget. So for example, let's say after this we wanted to put something else in. We can add another text widget and just suggest more content. So maybe after that we want to add in, we put our welcome message. Maybe we want to put in a glossary, for the course. Let's say include key terms. Let's say, I don't know, everything in economics. Now, actually, if you're doing this properly, I suggest you put a bit more detail into each of these, because the more you put in, the more you get out. But what's interesting about all of this is that although we're only entering a few things, behind the scenes, the prompt that we're actually giving to GPT-4 is maybe 500 or 1,000 words long. It's actually quite a big prompt, because we've actually told GPT-4 about all the features Open Learning has, how we think welcome message should be structured for a student who's learning online, and all the different things associated with that. So we actually put a lot of work into coming up with this behind the scenes so that you can just plug in your topic and not have to worry about that. So we'll give it a couple of seconds to generate its sort of glossary here. But you can see our other content is still here as well, and you can edit that too. So if you didn't want to talk about cryptocurrencies, you can delete that, delete that content as well. But this will probably just take a couple more seconds.
The real prompt actually is even more complex.
Yeah, the real prompt is quite complex, actually, because you'll notice even here, the output is formatted as well. So we've also told it what formatting options are available. So the real prompt is, hundreds or 1,000 words in some cases. And they get more and more complicated. There we go, here's our glossary. So it's covered, we asked it for everything in economics, so it's probably more, but it's got some of the key ones. So inflation, 101, that's right, 101, this is only the beginning. We didn't ask it for behavioral economics just yet. So anyway, we're happy with that, we'll keep that. So now we've got our glossary. We noticed, okay, there's no title there, so maybe we actually want to put in, a title above that or something, and we can do that too. But we'll probably just save all of this. I think that's probably a good enough start. So we've got a page here, we've got some content and all of that. Now let me go to one of my other pages. I've got a page here on supply and demand. So now actually what I want to do is create a learning activity. And you can see here we've got a whole range of learning activities available. Crowdsourcing, Feynman's reciprocal teaching, icebreakers, interdisciplinary learning, concepts, practicing techniques, project-based learning. Yeah.
Scenario-based.
We have role-playing, scenario. We have case study in the other one as well. Yeah. For this one, let's see what we want to try. Maybe.
Problem-based.
Which one?
Yeah, problem-based.
Yeah, project-based activity. That one?
Project-based, problem-based.
Yeah. Okay, so this one, project-based activity. So we can see, okay, it's got our topic, we've got our things there, and we can get an example as well. Okay, the example is not relevant to this course, it's for plants. That's just a general example. So anyway, the subject area here, I guess I made this page called supply and demand. So maybe I would say this is just an intro to supply and demand. Yeah?
Inflation. Inflation. Supply.
Actually, we could ask it about that. We can ask about the impact. And then it's asking, okay, what are learners going to produce? Because this is a project-based activity, so we want the students to produce something. Maybe we want them to produce a presentation. That could work. Okay, and you'll notice there's actually learning outcomes here as well. So you can actually map this activity to learning outcomes. Now we've got a few learning outcomes that are already set up in this course. I think this can probably map to this one, market structures. And we can choose our tone. So maybe we want this one to be a bit more informative, professional, exploratory, that sounds good. So you can choose more than one, and you can try and get it to do something that's both humorous and professional. That's always a bit of a challenge. So we'll click generate, And this will take a couple seconds as well. You notice this one actually gives us a bit more detail of what's happening. These are a bit larger, these activities.
So, question, like if 100 people use the same thing, will we get it different?
It's a good question. Will you get the same output if everyone puts the same input? You will all get slightly different output. Different output, yeah. Because most of these topics are quite general. I think where you'll get more similar output is in very niche topics. Because GPT 3 or 4 has been trained on everything on the internet plus academic papers. But if you pick a topic where there's very little information available, they'll probably coalesce around the same information. In some cases, though, you probably hope the answers are the same, like mathematics and things like that. So I think, but everything will be structured differently every time you click the button. Okay, here we go. So impact of supply and demand on inflation. In this activity, you will explore the impact of supply and demand on inflation and create a presentation that focuses on the effects of inflation in your local community. By studying market structures, including perfect competition, monopoly, oligopoly, you'll gain a deeper understanding of the implications. Okay, so here are some project ideas you can choose from. Once you've chosen your project focus, create a detailed project plan, including the following. So it's giving instructions to the student. Then the student shares their project plan here. And then it also knows that after sharing the project plan, students can review it in the gallery. So it's added a gallery in here and asked students to provide constructive feedback to help them improve their plans. After that, it says after receiving feedback on your project plan, begin your working on your presentation. Your presentation should be visually engaging and well organized, etc. And then it says upload your presentation. So students can upload a video of their presentation right here. And then after that, there's a gallery of all the presentations students can review. It says, well done, hope you've gained valuable insights. So there we go. This is a multi-part project-based learning activity which has just been generated, just for us right here. Now, that looks actually pretty good, but we could refine it if we want to. Ask it to make some changes, or we could keep that, but we could actually just edit it and make a few updates ourselves. Oh, you'll also notice it actually added the learning outcome at the top as well. So it's already put the learning outcome there as well, and it's mapped that to these activities. Now let's say, maybe, where's our presentation? Here we go. Maybe actually we want to give the students a bit more background on how to create a presentation. So we can add a text widget in here, click suggest content, and then maybe we want to give them a how-to guide, how to create a presentation and upload it, for example. So maybe let's do that. Okay, so we'll just say, okay, we just want a bit of content here. We want to give the students information on how to create and upload their presentation from their mobile phone. They can probably do it themselves, so maybe we want to help them out a bit. So we'll just put a little widget in there and we'll ask it for the content. So you can actually use this to augment your existing content as well. Like for example, maybe you have a video you've created using AI already. You want to put that into your course. You can put that into your course and then you can add an activity underneath it using these tools.
Sorry, Adam.
Yes.
May I know if this AI assistant is able to create content for technical subject?
Yeah, it can. Yeah, it can. I mean, with mathematics, you should check it over twice. But I've used it recently to create content for a third-year physics course at university. For example, I used the tutorial exercises widget, and I asked it to generate some physics problems. And actually, I couldn't do the problems myself. So I asked it to produce worked examples as well. And it did that too. So I can actually show you that. Maybe, let's see, we'll go to a different page and we'll ask it for some equations.
Problem not real.
Yeah, yeah.
You couldn't solve it.
I couldn't solve it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the question from Tom.
Yeah.
The question is about the system, open learning. So the way in which designs activities are all good, like extracting information from ChatGPT or any other AI tool. But I'm asking about, as a SME, might not want to have the same kind of activity in any other courses in your own platform. So how do we make sure that the system shows the statistics of the content that is not presented elsewhere within the system? For example, if we use stock images, we know that number of times it is downloaded. So we know that the same image is downloaded and mostly used in many places. Similar to that, so how can the system, open learning system, make sure that the same kind of activity is not replicated in other courses? Because SME won't like to have the same in other courses also, right?
Okay, so when you generate the content through this AI assistant, the content that's generated does not go back into the training set. So that content is unique. Anytime you use the tools and you generate it again with the exact same input, it will give you a different output. Now, if you're wondering about the actual templates, like for example, like these ones, like Feynman technique, well, these are pretty well-developed learning design patterns. So we expect many people around the world to use Feynman technique already, to use role-playing already. So all we've done is made it possible to generate the content using that learning design pattern. So in that sense, the content you generate will be different, so there's no risk that someone else will have exactly the same content in the course. And if multiple courses use the same pattern, like Feynman technique, that's probably a good thing, because these are actually very high-quality learning design patterns. So I don't think the SMEs should be concerned that other courses are using similar learning design techniques, because anytime you hire a learning designer, they're going to use the same techniques as well in the process. You can see here it's created a detailed step-by-step on how to record a presentation from your mobile phone. Choose an app for recording, prepare your presentation, set up your environment, record. There you go, pro tip. So there we go, now we've got our full page of content here. We've got our activity, and we've got information on how to actually record it from the phone, and then they upload their presentation. So all of that's ready to go there. I was going to show you some equations. Let's see if we can do some economics ones. I haven't played with this before. There must be some equations for productivity growth, though. Let's see. Okay, we'll let that one generate. While that's going, actually, so now we've got a couple pages here. And what I was going to do is say, if we notice here in the Learning Activities tab, all of these pages don't have any cover image. So we want to make this course a bit more visually appealing. So what we can do is we can actually edit this page, we can change the icon, and you can upload your own thumbnail image for the page. But if you don't want to, we now have Suggest a Thumbnail. And this is the basis of our new image generator in Open Learning. Now, first of all, it's just for the thumbnail, but this will be expanded to the course banner and all the other images that you put in a course. Now, what's cool about this one, you'll notice you can choose your art medium and art style. And there's a lot. So art medium, we have all of them that you can choose from. Digital art, photography, cinematic, anime, comic book, illustrations. Illustration, okay. And then after that, we have a lot to choose from. Hundreds of options. And many I've never heard of myself, actually. Cubism, cybernetic art, cyberpunk, fantasy art, yeah, ink wash, kaleidoscope, newspaper, cartoon.
Adam,
Yep.
okay, I'm looking at the is I think students who can use other AIs platform for them to put it into place. If you can have a look at the assessment that proposed by learning, is it something that can ensure the students are really doing it for the sake of learning? So we can really assess the learning process.
Yeah, it's a good question. So effectively, can you ensure that students are doing the work themselves rather than using AI to do the work? I guess the short answer is it's impossible to determine. And it's impossible to stop students from using AI if they really want to use AI. If someone uses ChatGPT to do an assignment, you can't detect it. There are tools which will tell you they can detect it, but the accuracy is very low. And universities that have been using them and have accused students of cheating with AI have found the students aren't cheating, and then it has significant ramifications on the student. So all we can do, I think, are two things. One is we can design the course so that students from the beginning feel the intrinsic motivation to want to learn. So we have to inspire the students to want to learn, not just seeing learning as a means to an end to get a certificate. So if we can inspire the student, then they're more likely to do it themselves because they want to learn. I mean, like, for example, in computer science, even when I was studying 15 years ago, many of the assignments had solutions online. You know, when we did the operating systems course, we had to implement, multi-threading or, other parts of the operating system. We can just look up Unix and see how it's done. But doing it yourself gives you the satisfaction. So we've got to instill that intrinsic motivation into the students. The other way is we want to design activities where students bring in their personal experiences and feedback. Like, for example, in the activity we just created in the other page, where people create a presentation, that one is hard for the student to use AI for, although Prof. Karim's version of himself was getting there. So maybe in 6 months, the student can use AI to generate a presentation of themselves. But that kind of authenticity, where you upload a presentation of yourself doing something, sharing something, students will more likely to do that than not. So we have to really inspire the students, but there's no foolproof way of ensuring that they don't do it. Okay, so which art style do we want to use? We've got anime, cartoon, comic. Any requests? Sorry? Cartoon? Okay. Newspaper cartoon. There we go. So this is going to be a newspaper cartoon illustration on supply and demand. So we can put more things in here if we want. We can choose a color scheme. I'll put orange because the course is orange. There we go. So we'll generate that. This will take a minute, 30 seconds or whatever. So for this one, behind the scenes, we're actually using Stable Diffusion's latest APIs. And every now and again, I will say that it will tell you it doesn't work. And there's a reason for that. Because a lot of the image generation tools have many safeguards in them now. So any topics which are considered off limits for image generation will not generate images. So if you have even courses that mention, children, any other topics like that, you will not be able to get any images out of it. There we go. There's our image for the thumbnail. Now, supply and demand looks like it's an image of a bazaar, an illustration probably, a market. Yeah, that's a bazaar, isn't it? Yeah, very cool. So if we're happy, we can keep it, apply it to the page, and you see it's put it right there. And if we click here, we see it now, it's our thumbnail for the page. Now, only 1 year ago, when we wanted to... Yeah.
Is it real-time generation?
Sorry?
Real-time generation?
Yeah, just that was real-time.
Not from the database.
No
But
database.
if it is the same combination of all the options, it generate the same.
Yeah. So for example, so that's one way to do it. I'll show you another one. Now we have the content editor in Open Learning. This is where you manage the entire structure of your course. Now let's say you have a lot of images to generate. You don't want to go page by page. You just click Suggest Thumbnails, and it will actually generate for all of them. So we can do this. Let's say we'll pick a different one this time, maybe. What do you reckon? Anime? Anime is cool. And then we have all different types. Only a few options for anime. Here we go. Anime, okay. Graphic novel, ink art, noir, whimsical anime, caricature, 3D animation. So it's interesting, actually. Each of the art medium has different options for a style. So there's maybe we'll choose ink pen, 3D animation. Okay, let's see what 3D animation does. We don't have any inspiration, but maybe I want it to be orange as well again. Let's see. That's the color scheme. So I click generate. This will take a little bit longer because there's 5 images to do. And anyone who's familiar with using generative AI for images, you know that actually it generates many versions behind the scenes, and it actually iterates on the version. So to get the final version, it might have generated 50 images to get the best one at the end, to refine it.
So for images,
This is using Stable Diffusion.
Stable Diffusion.
So we've tried many different image generation models. I think the 2 leading ones at the moment are Midjourney and Stable Diffusion. from what we can tell. Midjourney doesn't actually have APIs, which means that platforms aren't able to use it yet. You can only use it through Discord, I think. But Stable Diffusion is available. DALL-E has actually fallen behind a lot. That's the one from OpenAI. So the good thing is within Open Learning, we're continuously doing experiments on what's the best model to use behind the scenes, and those are the ones we use. So when we see a new version come out, we can actually switch the models inside Open Learning behind the scenes. So you don't actually have to think about or know what's going on. It will just generate the content for you.
We don't have to add any attributes for the images, right? Because AI generated all this.
Yeah, AI will generate all of them, yeah. So actually, even for example, alt tags, for accessibility, AI can generate the description of the images for people who, can't see, for example. Yeah. That might take a few minutes. Maybe I'll just, let's see what else oh, okay. We were generating some equations, that's right. Well, we asked for some equations. These aren't very complicated equations. This was, we were asking for calculating productivity and economy. What are the formulas that you might use? So you'll notice Open Learning actually supports math text and LaTeX, which means we can format equations in the platform. So just come up with a problem here. Total productivity, that's the formula. Labor productivity. Understanding market equilibrium.
Engineering program.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Quite cool. So it's generated 5 questions here for the students to do, and it's put those right in the course. So it's important that we keep that. But you'll notice, for example, they added a gallery under each of them. Now maybe you don't want these activities to be visible to all the students. So we're going to actually edit this, and you can remove the gallery, so students only share the work with the teachers, for example. So you can easily do that. You can just say, okay, I want to delete this gallery, for example, and we'll delete that comment above. And we can actually change the sharing settings. So we can say this is only going to be for students and teachers to see. And you can even choose group work as well. You can turn it into a group work activity. So yeah, that's something you can do. Oh, there we go. Our images are done. So yeah, here we go. Here we go. So,
Automate the process.
yeah. So the welcome to the course, you can see text it doesn't do very well. So it didn't quite generate the text for the welcome. Comparative advantage is that a lot of money flying around. Globalization is people traveling, doing business. Productivity is someone working hard. Yeah, very relevant, yeah. So if we're happy with this, we can just apply all of them to the module, for example. So that's a brief example. I'm not sure how much time I have left. Is that time probably? 5 minutes, okay. I could show you lots of stuff all day for this. Maybe I'll just show you one more. I was going to generate some content on nursing because I think this is a topic that we found very interesting. A lot of universities are covering. So for example, I was going to show you a case study. So one of the things in nursing that a lot of universities or colleges are covering is the process for emergency triage in hospitals. So maybe for this one, I will actually create a case study. So I'll show you a case study. And we want this to be an informative case study, professional, and I'll type something in. So I'll just generate that content there. It'll take its time. So meanwhile, you can actually do multiple things at once, actually. If you wanted to, you can add additional widgets and generate multiple AI content at the same time. The platform will support that as well. So there's a lot of stuff you can do. I'll just jump back to this course. I think we pretty much finished our course, this one here. But you notice you can add more modules, and now we've got a nice full-featured course. Everything matches the color scheme. So just even 6 months ago, when people are building, or even today actually, people are building courses online, it actually is a lot of effort to find images that are relevant and that you have the copyright for, right? But these images are brand new images, so there's no copyright issue for these ones at the moment, unless someone goes after OpenAI or one of these other organizations. Now, meanwhile, I think we can actually do a few things at once here. Let's see if we can generate a thumbnail at the same time. So maybe for this one, we want to do something a bit different. Maybe we'll do, sorry? Photographic. And maybe we just want to do lots of different types here. Surreal, vibrant, portrait. Okay. Oh, okay, our case study is done. There we go. So it's generated a full case study here. You can check the stats. So for example, their case study here is a hospital with approximately 300 patients a day. They've got the emergency severity, the Malaysian triage category system. So it knows about the Malaysian version of the triage system. Learning outcomes covered, question for further reflection. Yeah, so we'll keep that one. And then, let's see, we'll just finish our little thumbnail here. We're going to do photography, and maybe let's do fine art, geometric, graffiti. Graffiti is kind of cool. Let's try that one. Graffiti photograph. I'm not sure what that'll give us. Let's find out. I mean, interestingly, through these tools, you'll notice we're actually learning a lot of different things we might not have known about before. I didn't know about all the different styles of artwork until I saw this. Similarly, with learning design, I didn't know about all the different learning design patterns that our team was coming up with. And that's, I think, really interesting because as you're building the course, you're actually learning about your own profession. We can't possibly know how to implement all learning design patterns ourselves. It's actually a lot of work. Okay, there's our graffiti artwork. Now, I'm not exactly sure what that is, so maybe I will say, okay, I want a different one. So maybe instead of graffiti, maybe we want to do, conceptual artwork or something like that, yeah? Yeah, conceptual. There we go. Or is it in hospitals? Maybe it doesn't know much about this as well. Hospitals. Cool. But yeah, while we're playing with that, any questions anyone would like to answer? Or if any questions come through online, I can't really see where they might be. Okay, so interestingly, it won't generate the thumbnail for this one. Maybe because of hospitals, some of the content on the page is not appropriate. So I think it's, you never know, but you can try different things with the tool. Yeah.
Do we have to pay?
Okay.
How do we justify to students and auditor that it's okay for us to use generative AI to create our models, but at the same time we are telling our students they shouldn't do the same?
Do as I say, not as I do, is the approach. So I think partly is that, when students are using generative AI, we don't want them using it in place of learning everything. But students can use generative AI in many cases to actually do parts of assignments and to help develop their understanding. Because when students go out into the workforce, they're going to be using AI tools. So for example, if you're teaching animation, digital animation, and you tell students they can't use AI to do their activities, then you're probably not teaching animation the way that they're going to be using it when they get out into the workforce. Because AI tools are becoming ubiquitous. So I think partly is the way we frame it. You can say, yes, the university uses AI tools because they enhance what we could do otherwise. Without the AI tools, it wouldn't be possible to develop 50 learning activities for the students to do to develop their understanding. Similarly for the students, maybe they can't actually do that much work unless they use AI tools as well. So it's about the appropriate use of AI in different areas. So you can say the AI is assisting the teachers to develop these things, but the teachers are still the ones checking it over, making sure it's correct, adding the finishing touches on it. So I think it's the way we frame it. There we go. This image is a lot more relevant. It's come up with. So photography, actually it looks quite accurate, doesn't it? It's uncanny. Yeah.
What's the
Emergency severity index in hospitals. Yeah. So we'll put that one in. There we go. Yes. So coming up in our new course builder, when you're generating your course learning outcomes, you can choose which taxonomy you use, like Bloom's taxonomy, Solo taxonomy. Actually, we have about a dozen different ones you can choose from. Yeah, similar when generating module structure and course structure, we have like both bottom-up and top-down approaches and a whole range of others as well. Any other questions? Cool. Well, so if you currently are an educator on open learning, then you can currently play with these tools. The thumbnail image generator will be available on Thursday afternoon. So you'll be able to go in, and any courses that you have without thumbnails, you can now generate all of them. So that'll save you a lot of time when you're creating your courses. Yes, this Thursday afternoon. Everyone will do it at the same time, probably. Congestion.
We village preview.
Yeah, this is preview.
Is it chargeable to use the AA service within open learning?
Sorry?
Do you charge for the
Yes, good question. So the way that we cover the cost of these services is we have a credit model, similar to the rest of the AI tools. So every institution that uses open learning, we've actually granted free credit to initially. And once you use up the credit, you can purchase more. But for example, generating, say, 50 or 100,000 words through the AI tools is probably like 50 ringgit or 100 ringgit or something like that. So it's actually, you can generate a lot of content for a very low cost using these tools. We convert into RM. Yeah, the credit system is based on Australian dollars. Yeah. Yeah, so the mechanism for charging for the credit, and calculating it, it's based on the actual number of tokens used when you generate the content. Now, the number of tokens is a number that's given back to us by GPT-4. So we don't know exactly how it's calculated, but it's roughly about 750 words or so per X number of tokens. So pretty much the way we do it is we've extracted that ourselves, and we just base it on the number of words generated and the number of tokens used, and then we apply that to our credit system in the platform. So roughly speaking, let me just work out quickly. So you can generate about 1,000 words for about 1 ringgit, I think. That's roughly what it is. Yeah. Yeah, so I think based on the averages so far, that's probably where it sits, about 1 ringgit per 1,000 to 2,000 words. But it does vary because GPT-4, sometimes the word is short, sometimes the word is long, so it calculates it a little differently. But we've granted free credit to all the accounts at the moment, so you can actually start playing with it and see how it works, and then decide if you want to use it. That's one of the reasons why we've used GPT-4 as well, because the first draft is usually very good. So what we've seen so far, because these tools have been out now for a few months in open learning, is that I think about 60% of the time, the first draft is the one people keep. So you actually don't even have to refine it much in the platform. Right.
Any more questions before we end Mr. Adam's talk?
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Adam Brimo. I would like to invite Dr. Jihana to give a token of appreciation to Mr. Adam. Yeah, this is the real token of appreciation, not the GPT token. Okay, thank you. Okay, for our GRU delegates, actually we are supposed to have a visit to our solar photovoltaic setup, actually on the roof in this building. Unfortunately, looking at the weather out there at the moment, it might not be safe for us to go for the visit. However, we will double check with the person in charge whether it still be safe or not. And in the meantime, we would like to invite Mr. Calvin from e-learning minds to share the technologies that is being used in today's seminar. We also have created a new class for online participants. You can join us as well, which is already started. Yes, you can switch to the other link. Okay, I'll pass to Mr. Calvin to explain more.
Thank you, thank you. So this is a last minute arrangement. Okay, I hope I can give you some idea about something that